back to Marketing That Pops. I'm Olivia.
And I am Michelle.
And today we're going to be talking about how to create a good work culture. Because that's important in any business. You got to have that.
It is, yes. Mm-hmm. I love that.
Well, good.
It's fun.
Yes. Easy to talk about, especially if you have one.
It is, yes.
Okay, so what I thought today what we could do is talk about how to create a good work culture. And then I was looking on Reddit and I found some different scenarios that people have asked questions, like looking for help. And, we can reply to them on Reddit, but I've also thought that it would be kind of cool to just like answer right here.
Sure.
Especially because some of these are kind of crazy.
Yeah.
So it'll be fun. So I guess let's talk about what work culture actually is. Mm-hmm. So builtin.com defines it as work culture encompasses the values, beliefs, and attitudes that guide an organization. It sets expectations for how employees should behave and interact with one another as they perform their day-to-day responsibilities and contribute to the company's overall mission. Is there anything else that you would want to add to that, or you feel like that's like right on the nose?
I think that's pretty on, but I like to kind of expand on that. Yeah. And really, when you are like thinking about your core values and that, when you're interviewing people, those are things that you need to make sure that they have and they also value, and just really push that. Listen, like, these are our core values. If you're not having these characteristics or values, you're not going to work out
right
here. And that just make sure it's very clear that this is how we are. Mm-hmm. And if you don't have these and you don't also like appreciate these values, then it's just not going to work out.
Yeah, absolutely. So what would you say to somebody who's like, I want to work on our culture? Like, what would be like one of the first things that you would say to them?
I would say that it has to come from the top down, because if, say, you have a CEO that is very rigid and, I don't know, like authoritarian, mm-hmm. and they want this fun culture, but they just can't let things go, then that is going to be very difficult if they like say, okay, HR person, get me a great culture, but you can't do this, and you can't do this, and you can't do this, then it like makes it like really hard. Like, it has to come from the CEO or leadership team to say, mm-hmm. yes, we all agree. Here are the things that we want to implement, and just be consistent with those.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I think that's really good. Another thing I would just say is try to just look at the culture that you already have. Try to figure out, like, what are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? Like, what are you doing that's working? And what are you doing that's, like, not working? Mm-hmm. And I feel like that can kind of help guide you as to, like, okay, we need some work in this area. So Michelle also said, you need to set clear goals. That is top.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think it's not something that you can do overnight. Mm-hmm. It's something that evolves, and also, like, as you grow your team, dynamics change. Yep. And then you kind of have to like be flexible and roll with it, and keep trying different things to like create that culture. And to me, like, I think about why would somebody want to work here? And so we like have certain things that we do, mm-hmm. and we keep changing and adding different things, or changing the way we're doing things, just to make sure that the team wants to be here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I guess I was just gonna say, like, obviously set those team goals for not only you, like, just the team, but also individuals to work towards. I think when people have something future thinking, they know what they're working towards, or they have something in their mind of how they can, continue to see themselves working in a place. Um, the next thing I would say is also just trust in your employees. Like, promote an open communication, have that transparency. Um, a lot of people like to say, like, letting their employees have a seat at the table, just meaning like let them be able to come to you with their problems and feel like they can be heard. And if they see action, then I know that would definitely show value and continuing wanting to work there.
Yeah, I think like the goals is really important, so that because people don't want to work at a place where there's not growth, typically, and they also don't want to work at a place where they're bored. And so you have to like be continuously challenging them, giving them things to strive for, with more opportunity, for management and things like that. And trust is also very important, but hard to get, because you don't automatically get that. You have to like earn the trust, and make sure that, your leadership team is like, yes, I'm confident they can do this. Now I can like back up and just let them roll with it. So.
Yes. So the next thing I would say is encourage collaboration. And I mean, everything is going to be about communication, but encourage collaboration and open communication. So like having those one-on-ones in place, depending on your business, whether it's small or large, you do want to have one-on-ones just because you get that more intimate time to talk to someone, one-on-one about all of these things. How are things going? Sometimes you never know what could be affecting an employee's performance. It could be, something going on at home, and as a business, I would hope that you would care about those life events that might be happening. And and sometimes when you just like bring awareness to it or just show care, that just encourages people as well.
Yeah, I think the one-on-ones are really important, and also to kind of break down those boundaries, to let them know that it's not just about work, and like building that relationship with your employees, because the more they trust you as the employer, the longer they're gonna stay, and just know that they're important.
Yeah, because like one thing I would say is when people try to like do different events with like the team, like let's say you're trying to institute like, oh, now we're going to start doing fun events. If you don't have a relationship with the employees, like that can be kind of like a rigid start, or like hard to get buy-in from the team. But having, like Michelle said, building those relationships, and you can do that through one-on-ones and just having those like small conversations, it's easier to go into, those types of events when you want everybody to come together and have fun, because you've been able to talk about the small things and maybe the bigger things, and you've been able to build that rapport, talk about maybe, things that aren't going so well. Maybe you had to have some hard conversations with those people, and hopefully they've been able to improve and only, come out on the other side. So, Michelle said that it's not always all about work, so allowing time for the lightheartedness. Like sometimes you do just have like a little conversation at the coffee at the coffee pot or whatever, and like that, those little moments, they add so much to your day. I mean, let's be real. I mean, you are here the majority of your day. You're at work with your team, so you want to make sure that you are allowing time for those, and you got to be able to do that.
Yeah, it's all about that relationship building, and I think for us, I probably tell everybody too many things because I just have to like get it off my chest. But but they see you then as a real person, not just that's my boss and that's you know that I can only talk to them about work stuff. It's like no, like I want to know about your boyfriend or dates or like what happened. I want to know.
Yeah.
And also it's just sometimes you just need to vent about stuff going on in your life.
Client issues.
Yeah, or like husbands or
all
kids,
of it.
all of that. So yeah, I think it's just you really have to have friends at work, and like you're all like working together like so much that it's like if you don't like each other, it's gonna be really hard to like work there.
Absolutely. And I think like especially with our culture these days, that's what people want. Like they want to feel that home away from home, in a sense of like feeling comfortable, feeling not dreading coming to work day in and day out. I think that definitely helps with employee retention.
Yeah.
Okay, so I would say the next thing is to recognize and reward achievements. I think you can figure out what people like, whether, like, some people don't always like to have all the praise and they just get embarrassed. Like, some people don't like that. I'm not one of those people. I love it. Like, I like it when people tell me that that I'm doing a good job. Like, I like words of affirmation. So figure out, and you will find those things out with your one-on-ones and getting to know people of how they like to be rewarded and also recognize. I think it's important to not only tell people when they're doing a good job individually, but also in front of the team, because it's like, oh wow, like, my boss recognized my team member that they're doing a good job. I want to get that. Like, let me work harder. What can I do to improve? It kind of just, maybe it's not like the first thought, but it's definitely in the back of their mind of like, I need to work harder. I want to get that too.
Yeah. I think too, it's like, as an owner, you can't just assume that everything's about pay, or why I'm going to give everybody a raise and blah, blah, blah. Because some people don't care about the money. Some people care more about time off or being recognized publicly. And like you said, some people don't want to be recognized publicly. Or they don't really care about their vacations. They want more money. So it's like you have to figure out each individual and be like, okay, like I know that they would really appreciate this, but this other person wouldn't. So like, how do we like
figure out those motivators?
Figure that out like as a team, because it's hard to remember all those different things.
And like, a way to figure that out is to just ask the team. Have those surveys. Like, if you have a larger team, maybe you send out a form like, how do you like to be rewarded, or how do you like to hear about your performance, or any of those different things. Like, just getting that feedback will help you indicate how you need to move forward.
Yeah. I actually talked to Bree about like sending out a survey to our team just to say, like, what is it that like motivates you and things like that. So I know she's working on that.
See,
but
I didn't even know that.
See, look at there. On the same page.
Okay, so recognize your rewards and achievements. The other thing is investing in professional development plans, like making sure that people know that there is a path, that there is, there's something for them to work towards. Like I said before, like, people just want to know where they can see themselves next year, the year after that, or like, here's where I see you. Michelle's really good about, you said that you were really good at this, but I really see that you are excelling in this area, and this is where I would like to move you. How does that align with your, vision for your time here? So if you see someone that is, has areas that they are improving in, talk to them about it. See if maybe they might need to change it up a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, most of the people that get hired here don't keep doing that same job. Like, I mean, because I'm like, I know you said that you're detailed, but you're not. So let's like try. But you're really good at this, and so I think you would be good at doing social media, or whatever it may be. And it's just almost everybody's job has changed. Now, sometimes people like graphic designers, they that's all they don't want. That's all they want to do is design, and they just don't want to be put in any other roles, and that's cool too. If that's that's where their strength is, then great. Let's just try to like keep improving that and move them kind of up the ladder.
Yes. So Michelle already said this. She always does this to me. But I mean, use all of these tips, but the main thing that you need to remember is that this is going to take time. Like Michelle said, you can't just go to your HR people and be like, I want a good work culture and let's make it happen tomorrow. Like, it's going to take time. People, especially if you haven't had that at all, like if you've had a bad work culture, people are going to be resistant to it, especially in the beginning, because they're like, well, I'm not used to this. It could seem unauthentic to them. And so I would just try implementing some of these other things first, like really starting with getting the feedback from the team, asking them what they would like to see. Like, if you start there, you're going to get way more buy-in, and, it's going to be real rather than like a fabricated type of, I don't know, thing.
Yeah. It has to be consistent too, because you can't just say, I want this really good culture and feel like really open and blah, blah, blah. And then somebody comes to you and, the manager freaks out and like starts screaming or something. Like, that's not going to create a good culture. You just have to be consistent and authentic, like real. You can't put on this, I'm so happy and everybody's here. It's just like, okay, like, but is that what you really like?
Yeah.
It's like, that seems fake. So I think that's like really important, is just being authentic and
people see right
consistent.
through that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So don't force it.
I think like one thing for me is like, I have the personality that I can sense things when I walk in a room. Like, okay, it's like something's going on, the vibe is off, like what's going on, who's upset about something, and you're really good at that too. And a lot of times Olivia will come to me when I'm not catching it and be like, okay, so this employee is like upset because this happened, and then we address it. But it's just, you just have to like really tune into those and like be observant of that. Yeah. Especially too, and I don't know if you're gonna talk about this, but like if like you do hire somebody and they're not meshing with the culture, then that you gotta address that right away.
Yes, we are gonna get into that a little bit.
Cool.
So we have 2 examples that we have from Reddit, and I'm gonna read these out, and then me and Michelle are gonna go at it and see how we can help them. Okay, so the first one, their subject line was ideas to build company culture and improve morale. So this is what they had to say. We've got a small company, 15 to 20 employees. Before COVID, we had a great vibe, but things kind of fell apart. Lack of interest, dynamic in projects, lack of office and field coherence, loss a couple good people. Okay, I'm gonna have to edit this for sure. Lost a couple good people. Things are picking back up now, but it doesn't feel the same. What are some good ideas to improve culture and overall morale?
Yeah, I mean, I noticed like during COVID, you don't have the same vibe because people were remote. It's really hard to have a good culture if everybody's remote, because the communication sucks. Like people are messaging, you're not understanding what they're saying in text or emails, or like you're misinterpreting it. Like, I think she's mad, but I wasn't mad. Like, that's not what I meant, you know? And so it's just, that part is really hard, which is why I'm so about being in office, because I personally, like, want to just be able to go, hey, I don't know what you're talking about. Can you show me? Blah, 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 blah. And it's just better, and I'm sure you know that as well. It's just better that you walk into my office and go, okay, here's what we're talking about. And then I'm like, oh, I got that. Okay, cool. You know, but it's, if you're not, like, in office and have, like, a culture that's open, you know, like, for example, like, our area, we have, like, it's one big room, and it's just a desk, and everybody really can talk to each other and communicate, because if you're not able to do that, it is hard. But you do have to, like, make the time and, like, schedule, like, I know when it was COVID, like, we would do, like, end of day, like, meetings and recaps, and just connect with people over Zoom and stuff. So
I just would say, like, I mean, there are some companies that might be listening that are fully remote. So I would just say that if that is the case, just try to hop on a call. Like, things do get lost in translation with just text. And I'm one of those people, like, I don't know, maybe they are mad at me, I'm not sure. So I'm always like, hey, I need to talk to you for a second. So yeah, if you ever feel that kind of, like, you're not sure, try to just see, like, hey, do you have time for, like, a quick 15-minute call, or like a 5-minute call, whatever that is, just so that you can, you know, hash out whatever that might be, and then you can get back on the same page. So this person also said that they started doing monthly all-staff breakfasts, but they got met with, like, rolling eyes and just, like, disinterest. So the only thing what I would say to this person is, maybe that happened because it was just like, we're gonna do this, and it's like, did they want to? You know, did you ask them, is something that you guys would like to do? Because maybe they're like, I don't want to, that's not what your team likes. Maybe they don't care about that type of bonding in that way. Maybe it's just the fact that they all aren't morning people.
Yeah, right. I mean, yeah, like, something that I think would be, like, fun is for us to take a team trip, you know, but there's other people on the team that have flat out said, no, I don't want to do that, because I don't want to hang out unless my spouse can come, or you know, like, I'm with you guys all day, I don't need to be with you on the weekends too. I mean, so it's like, oh, I mean, wow, okay, I mean, I thought that would have been cool, but okay, no problem. And so it's just, you have to, like, learn and, like, make sure you ask before you just implement it. Yep. Because if I would have just spent all that money and, like, flights and all this other stuff, and then people were, like, miserable, like, I mean, I don't want that. Like,
well, yeah, and then that just, like, starts to, like, it's a ripple effect. It's like, you were trying to do something that was fun, and it's supposed to be a good thing, and then a lot of the people are having fun, and maybe a few people aren't, and then you're sad because you spent all this money. You know, just kind of, those things are, you gotta talk. And I'm sure that this is what happened to this person who put their question in, because they probably felt disappointed that they probably spent all this time trying to make this breakfast for everyone, and then they're like, I guess. So yeah, just, I would say, talk to your people, make sure that that's something that they want to do before just going full force into it.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go to the next one. Okay, this is the one I was telling you about that we were going to get to later. So this one says, hired a toxic employee, only 10 days back. What do I do? That's the subject. So let's hear what they have to say. So I interviewed this boy, and he is very extroverted and sold me promises to bring more revenue. Do this, do that. I was short-staffed, and I was sold after his interview. He joined 10 days back and now he doesn't seem to be a culture fit. He talks with the customers as if he's selling things off the street. To younger than him customers, he talks as if they are his college juniors. He takes out cash from the cash drawer for his convenience without entering its infill. He tries to prevail over his colleagues who are senior to him in age and experience, and one is complaining that they can't work here if he is still working here. So, lots of issues here.
Yeah. I mean, I know what I would do. So, it's kind of that saying about like one bad apple like ruins the bunch, you know, and that is so true. And if they don't get rid of them, everybody's going to start leaving, and then you're going to have a big old mess. But, I mean, I have been in that situation with certain employees, and you have to just nip it in the bud. You have to, like, confront them, make sure that they're going to change. If they're not changing after you've had those conversations, they need to go. And it's unfortunate, but you know, because you spent all this time training them, and I mean, it's only 10 days in for them. So I mean, I have let somebody go after 2 days, so because it was like so obvious that they just were not going to work out. So maybe, like, I would say to my like old self, maybe give them more time than 2 days. But you know, it's like, it was just like creating all kinds of like chaos, and it's like, I'm not dealing with this anymore. Like, I don't want to waste any more money on it. So but like, we've also had people that are similar, like very abrupt personalities that clashed with everybody, and that is another reason you just have to address it. But one thing we do that's kind of cool is we do personality tests, and you know, based on like what the job role is, there's certain personality types that you want in those roles. So like, if it's an accounting person, you're going to want somebody really detailed, so you can give them this personality test, and then it's going to tell you like if they are like that versus just them telling you what you want to hear. So that's really important too.
I mean, to your point, I would just say that, I mean, I know we always want to give a lot of people time, and 10 days in, it's like, if you were seeing all these issues, because this is a lot of stuff, especially these people have a lot of things going on with even the cash thing. Like, no, that has to be addressed right away. And I would just say, sometimes you just have to rip off that Band-Aid and just make the hard decision, because I would say, if you're working towards making a good culture, this is the thing that's going to set you back. And, you know, if you're trying to have that good consistency, this isn't going to help at all.
I've had like situations too where like I'm trying to give this employee like an opportunity to improve or change, and I feel like I'm the only one that's like seeing these things, and then I'm like feeling bad, like, maybe I'm just like being too mean or whatever, and then you end up letting them go, and then all of a sudden all the employees are like, it's about time, oh my gosh, you know, it's like, what? Why didn't you guys tell me this? Because I asked specifically, and everybody's like, no, they're fine. And it's like, you know, it can be frustrating, but, you know, you really gotta like be monitoring and sensing like how that culture is, like, because if one person is like moody or in a bad mood, it like sets the tone for the rest of the people, and you just gotta you can't be having that.
No, not at all. On the flip side of that, I would say that there are times where, you know, maybe you have had an employee and they were doing really good, and then all of a sudden their performance starts to drop off. Having those one-on-ones, going back to what we said, maybe there's a reason, and, you know, giving people the opportunity to get back to where they started, or even to go above maybe than where they were before. I've seen that too, where like maybe they just needed an opportunity. Maybe they didn't know that their performance or whatever it is that they were producing had start to kind of dwindle down. And when you let people know, it's like, oh, okay, all right, light that fire again. It's like, okay, I got this. Let me get it together. So I mean, I've seen it both ways, but in the beginning, for this person in particular, gotta go.
Yeah, especially taking money. That's
no.
That's not a good. That's no.
Absolutely not.
Yeah, that would be bad.
Yeah. Okay, well, I hope we helped you guys. I hope you enjoyed this episode. And if you have any other questions about how to improve your work culture, let us know and we will get back to you.
Sounds good.
Thanks. For listening.